My job is to keep a wary eye on the bone orchid. How exactly do you keep an eye on the evidence room? This is day 2, Raiju. I made sure nothing moved on the security camera monitor. That room's so still. Even time dies in there. I'm just a caretaker who entered the recordings. Tackle him. I'm not gonna tackle the man with a knife. You tackle the man with a knife. Hey, Anime Crasher. Videos are nothing ain't that useful. When the time would come, I'd erase the tape. Why? Why do people just erase evidence? Every 6 hours! Ugh. Look, even at my family sports bar, we have recordings that last a week. It's not like it takes up that much file space. Wait, this is in 2003. I guess videos did take up a lot of file space back then. I take it back. I take it back. This was in 2003. Videos did take a while. Did take up a lot of space. They said I was supposed to make rounds 3 times a day. But you made your rounds in the day of the crime, right? Ain't you heard a word I said, partner? I told you, that ain't my style. No, just for all I know, lets rules get in his way. The Phoenix Wright games take place in 2018. Yeah. 2018, by the way. Nice 2018 cell phone, by the way. Seems right, 2018. Back when the games were made in 2003, they placed the game 15 years in the future. So, Officer Marshall, on the day of the crime, just between you and I didn't set foot in the evidence room. That's what your cell phone looks like right now. Back when people used CRT monitors and VHS tapes in 2018. Rubber gloves sticking to victim's locker. Do you know anything about that? Sorry, partner. Can't say I do. I haven't been in that crypt in weeks. Besides, the room's protected by 2 security systems. You used to be a detective, so you used the evidence room in the past, correct? Of course. Back in my day, the locker was a gold mine of evidence. And yet, you didn't know about the fingerprint locking mechanism. Sorry, partner. I ain't good with machines. Couldn't even tell you how my bike works. The sensors in the locker handles cannot be seen. The sensors cannot be seen. The sensors cannot be seen? Now you mentioned it, Detective Gumshoe said something like that too. At any rate, doesn't seem like this is relevant to the crime. Street side saloon when it went down. What were you doing in a place like that? I was eating spaghetti. Yes. My favorite spaghetti, you know, shoyu spaghetti. What kind of spaghetti do you use, guys? Like, do you like shoyu spaghetti? Do you guys like skeemin spaghetti? You guys like pho spaghetti? Not even Angel steak lunches can beat the parlor's Vongole sepia spaghetti pasta. You mean to tell us you abandon your police duties to eat some noodles? Not all desperados eat tacos, partner. Not what I meant. I hope this at least taught you a lesson. It's strange. This is usually where Edward says. Did you not want a raise this year? Out of ammo, Officer Marshall. I was firing blanks, Your Honor. Or as you call it, evidence. If you plan to pin me on this crime, you better draw. Otherwise, you're just wasting my time. My steel horse is waiting to carry me back west to the sunset. Udon in curry. Yeah, well, I mean, like, I was eating jelly donuts made by Brock. Despite being responsible regarding the evidence room, the witness didn't appear to have seen anything. Texans don't take orders from anyone. Everyone knows that. I will take orders from anyone who's bigger than me. I am a meek little boy. I have a trump card up my sleeve. Oh, are you a Kainu because you've got an ace up your sleeves? Supposed to make rounds 3 times a day. Besides, room protected by 2 security systems. If I remember right, I was street side saloon, just an innocent traveling man. So if you're out of ammo, time to hit the trail. Boom. Or are you? Objection! Officer Marshall, doesn't it strike you as odd that you being called in to testify like this? After all, you weren't in a security room, were you? And yet, we dragged you down here. Explain yourself, partner. It's quite simple. You left a very large trail behind at the scene. Or to be exact, a handprint. Listen real good, partner. Like I said, I'm the caretaker of that crypt. I pay my respects. That is, make my rounds around once a month. It's only natural my fingerprints would be in there. Objection! I only wish you were, officer. But you see, your fingerprints were covered in blood. It was my period. Witness, what's the meaning of this? Your blood-stained fingerprints were at the crime scene. The blood was wiped away, however. A luminol test clearly revealed this. Well, Officer Marshall? It seems to me there ain't a person in this room with a head on his shoulders. I take it you have an explanation then, Officer Marshall. About the blood-stained fingerprints? Very well, you may begin your testimony about your fingerprints. Found at the scene of the crime. This ought to be good. Like I said, it's only natural for my fingers to be in the evidence room. One of them just happened to be at the same place as the blood-stained fingerprint. The murderer touched the locker with my fingerprint by chance. The blood stain and the fingerprint are completely unrelated. Or didn't you know the murderer was wearing gloves? See? Nothing to do with it. The witness's explanation seems valid. However, there's no room for doubt. Life wouldn't be fun without any doubt, partner. The defense may now cross-examine the witness. Now's my chance to prove what he's hiding. Hold it! That's because you, how you put it, pay your respects once a month? Yeah, that's right. That and one more thing. That locker happens to be mine. Nani? What do you mean? Not what I said. The locker I used when I was still a detective. All that's in there now is a heap of broken dreams. I see. Strange my fingerprints weren't all over that locker. Apparently his fingerprints data was never removed from the locker's programming. He must have still been using the fingerprint lock all this time without even knowing it. One is just happening in the same place as bloodstained fingerprint. So then, what about the bloody handprint? Wasn't mine, no mystery. My locker is covered in my fingerprints. It just so happens the murderer touched the locker by chance. The blood stain and fingerprints are completely unrelated. Or didn't you know the murderer was wearing gloves? Wait, he doesn't say he hasn't been in there for ages? Huh. So we're definitely using... Oh shit, that's not one of my evidences? Oh hey, let's read the SL9 incident. Victims: Edward Jones, Jason Knight, Edith Kirby, Rachel Moss, Jeb Bates, Master Bates, Neil Marshall. Marshall's somebody. Boyfriend. Husband. Trial data. Head prosecutor Miles Edgeworth. Witness Lana Skye, Emma Skye. Task force. Executive investigators Damon Grant, Lana Skye, Head investigator Bruce Goodman, investigators Jake Marshall, Angel Scar. Where is the thing with the locker with the shit on it? Brother? Well, we don't know that yet. Oh my god, spoilers. There is so what I want to say is that your locker had something sticking out of it. Therefore, you would have had to open it recently because there's something sticking out of it. Someone would have gotten on your case about having evidence sticking out of your locker, and so you must have been in there recently. That's what I want to say, but that's not an option to us, so it has to be something else that we need to do. The chances of that happening are 1,000,000 to 1. On the contrary, one could argue just the opposite chances of that. Not happening are 1,000,000 to 1. Get one thing straight, partner. You ain't gonna get no reward from me with a mere fingerprint. You wanna know why? The blood stain and the fingerprint are completely unrelated. Unrelated? They're as different as night and day. Kind of like cereal and cereal. One's got to do with breakfast, while the other is a type of murder. He's right. How do you know? He was wearing gloves. Maybe a loner, but I still do my job. I keep up with the reports. There was a blood stain at the scene, thought to be left by the murderer. It was found in Detective Gumshoe's locker. However, no fingerprints were detected on that handprint. I think we tried that too. So that would mean the murderer wearing gloves happened to place their hands on top of Officer Marshall's handprint. Are you starting to get the picture, partner? The picture? The seal of blood in the desert is just food for the buzzards. There's only one reality, and that's this: the security tape. So long as my trail isn't in there, you can't say otherwise. This isn't getting us anywhere. Please consider carefully where you're going with this cross-examination. Continue your testimony. Too bad it wasn't me in that video. What do you mean by that? You want to tie me in this crime, isn't that right, partner? If so, the video is the only direct evidence you have. But that video is next to useless. It's full of blind spots. Places you can't see. Oh, okay. Camera's panning back and forth. Someone was familiar with the camera's position. They could leave the room without being caught on tape. We don't have time for your speculations. Officer Marshall was present. Please do so now. I don't think there's any place he could have been in the video. But let's check again. Very well. Allow me to point out your mistake. Show us incriminating evidence. Alright, let's see. Let's keep an eye on that. Yeah, Ta-da! Wait, fuck! Ta-da! Found it. Yeah. 3, 2, 1, and pause. Finger that. Finger it. Take that. Bringing your attention back to the security camera is a mistake. I'm afraid you'll soon not forget, Officer Marshall. The days are short in Texas. No, I think they're just as long as literally everywhere else. In fact, we're near the equator. Our days are pretty fucking average. Can you sum up what you have to say in 8 words or less? Very well. You can clearly be seen in this video. Wow, nice job. Exactly 8 words, not bad. The key lies in a certain locker shown in this video. Oh, hey, that wasn't long. The locker with the white cloth sticking out of it. That was the witnesses, I believe. Now then, let's rewind the video by a bit. Oh, the white cloth is gone. Nani? When the crime took place, the white cloth wasn't there. Then, it suddenly appeared. There's only one explanation. Officer Marshall, you were in the evidence room at the time of the crime. What's more, you opened your locker when the camera was turned away. Order, order! It would seem. Hold your horses. Sorry, partner. But you got the wrong man. So what if my locker was open? That doesn't mean I'm the one who opened it. The murderer needs to hide something, so he opened the locker and stuck it in. It's not my fault he happened to choose mine. Why is everyone staring at me like I am a wanted man? Do I have to prove it? He really doesn't know. I hate to rain on your parade, but you're the only person that can open that locker. Oh yeah? I call your bluff. Prove it. Really? Why? Yeah. A fingerprint sensor? Yeah, we literally mentioned it to you today. We talked about this earlier today. The locker can only open by the detectives they belong to. What kind of crazy talk is this? Well, Detective Gumshoe did mention something about this. In any case, the locks aren't that obvious. Even some people in the force we don't know about them. So, Sheriff, what do you have to say in 8 words or less? Good thing he wears fingerless gloves. Oh, hey, he has beef jerky too? I fucking love beef jerky. Nice. I like that. What if he didn't wear fingerless gloves? Order, order, order. Witness, explain yourself. Is this a joke? It's the worst I've ever heard. I assure you this is no joke, Officer Marshall. Now then, please tell us what you're doing in the evidence room at the time of the crime. Olé! What? What? That's right, Officer Marshall. I believe we can figure the rest out from here. We can. Have a look at these floor plans. There's no place for someone to hide in the evidence room. Yet, Officer Meekins didn't see Officer Marshall. If that's so, where was the witness? Seems Mr. Wright has an answer. That's the Alright, the only possible conclusion. Well then, let's hear it. Where was Officer Marshall at the time of the crime? I think K is Meekins. Like, I'm pretty sure K is Killer Meekins. Officer Marshall was standing right here. But that's where the victim was! Unless the man wasn't Detective Goodman. I believe the victim is Officer Marshall. Dude, dressed up like Detective Goodman. That's preposterous. Officer Meekins witnessed detective at the crime scene. Once he saw the man's face, he knew for sure. May I point out that Officer Meekins did not know Detective Goodman? He also testified that he didn't see his face. When I entered the evidence room, I asked him to show his card. Yes, and how did Detective Goodman respond? He pulled a knife on me. Something about the officer's story puzzled me. If the man had his ID card, why didn't he just show it? The answer is simple, he couldn't show it. As you can see, Detective Goodman's picture is on his ID card. Oh, I get it. If he showed that, his cover would have been blown. Officer Meekins would have realized the man wasn't Detective Goodman. You have anything to say about this, Officer Marshall? Or should I say, Murderer Marshall? You got quite an imagination, partner. Yeah, a term for that. It's called circumstantial evidence. Circumstantial evidence? He's still denying it. You're gonna have to do better than that to break a detective. Unless you have hard evidence. Proving I dressed up as a victim, I do. I'm a hard dick. Can't say I particularly care for your uncooperative disposition. Can't say I care for your beard. Ooh, got him! That's how you make friends, making fun of the judge. Yeah, well, I can see the fear in your eyes, partner. Seems you're the one who couldn't take the desert heat. Ah, so obvious he's the one. What can I do? It looks like your lack of experience has finally been exposed. I'll pass on what someone told me when I was just starting out. I'll pass on to you what someone told me when I was just starting out. When you run into a wall with no space to go, return to the basics. The basics? You mean saving and guessing with everything you have? Phoenix, try thinking outside the box. Or inside the box. The locker room box. I should look for evidence that came about because he was in disguise. What do you think? Why do you think this locker was open in the first place? There's no reason for Officer Marshall to open this locker at the time of the crime. Yet he did, despite the chance he might be discovered later. He didn't originally plan to open his locker. According to defense's argument, Officer Jake Marshall dressed up as Goodman at the time of the crime. Then, after the crime was committed, he opened his own locker for some unknown reason, to put something in there that we're not going to care about right now. The fact that a white cloth is sticking out of that locker seems to indicate that he opened it in order to put the cloth inside. Just what is this cloth? Yes, perhaps. The video is the key for all our unanswered questions. Very well, why don't we just open the fucking locker? After committing the locker, open locker, put away the quiet cloth. Please show us why. Why don't we open the locker that he has the fucking shit inside? For some reason, he disguised himself as Detective Goodman and entered the evidence room, though I don't know to what end yet. However, something unexpected happened. Hey, RDSCN. Morning. Officer Meekins barged in on you. When asked to show your ID card, you pulled a knife on him. However, Officer Meekins panicked, and the white coat you were wearing was soiled with blood. A bloody white coat. You couldn't just walk out like that, so you hid the coat in your locker. Not bad, partner. What is this? This is Phoenix Wright. It's like Danganronpa without despair. With only 3 instances of despair. Are you ready to tell us the truth? Looks like I underestimated y'all. I hope you're happy now, Mr. Edgeworth. He has not said y'all enough. Like, this is the first time I think Marshall said y'all. We need some more y'alls up in here. 2 years ago, you were only half as persistent as you were today. We all wouldn't have been here now would we? Officer Marshall, what do you mean by that? Alright, seems the time has come. Confession. I had to do it that day. I couldn't just stand by and let it die. I stole the detective's ID and dressed like him. I planned to take out the evidence. I wasn't expecting Officer Meekins. I knocked him out and managed to escape. I knew which areas wouldn't be caught on camera. There wasn't any murder in the evidence room at 5:15. So the supposed victim was really you. But there's one thing I still don't understand. Traces of a large quantity of blood were found in the floor of the evidence room. If no one was murdered, then how could that be? Officer Meekins managed to cut his own hand. My guess is he's the donor. It was way too much blood for such a small donation. I had to do it. Hold it! When you say it, you mean the deed. Making a piece with 2 backs. For some reason, you had thought Danganronpa was a dating sim where girls are missing legs. No. That's How to Boyfriend, the bird dating sim. It's not. The SL9 incident. 2 years have passed since the case was closed. I was going to completely end with a transferal that day. Not if I have anything to do with it. That incident's not over. But what did you hope to accomplish by sneaking into the evidence room? When a case is closed, only the case's lead detective can look through the evidence. I wanted to have a look at it one more time myself, no matter what the cost. I didn't care what anyone says, partner. That case is mine. Officer Marshall wasn't in charge of that investigation. Why does he care so much about it? That day, why does he care so much about it? I stole the detective's ID and dressed like him. I planned to take out the evidence. Because it was Marshall's brother that was convicted and executed, right? Probably? Why did you disguise yourself as Goodman? If I didn't make it look like Goodman was carrying out the evidence transferal, I'd be arrested for stealing evidence, which wouldn't get me anywhere. So you did it to fool the security camera and the detective's ID card. I stole that the morning of the incident. That really was why Goodman started filing out the lost item report. I returned his ID card. I left it on the floor of the prosecutor's parking lot. Yeah. So essentially, you managed to succeed despite your lack of foresight. What if he just didn't put the ID card back? Like, what if he just didn't? Why would he return it? Why didn't he just keep the evidence that, like, helps prove that it was him? What do you mean, partner? I mean the fingerprint activated lock, of course. No matter how well you disguise yourself, you can't change your fingerprints. Under normal circumstances, you wouldn't have been able to open that locker yourself. You could, because a rubber glove was happened to be stuck in the door. That means Detective Goodman must have opened the locker before Officer Marshall. I wasn't expecting Officer Meekins. I knocked him out and managed to escape. Oh, wait. You pulled a knife on Officer Meekins and tried to drive him off. Let's just say I was a little surprised. I only planned on being in the evidence room for no more than 5 minutes. I didn't think anyone would actually come in during that short time. Mistaking a detective for an intruder and demanding to be shown his ID. I'll have to think a little more about his race this year. Ah, there it is. Anyways, he threw himself at me and I ended up kissing him. I'm sorry it had to turn out that way, with me knocking him out and everything. By the way, what happened to your knife? Oh, you mean this one? So you knocked Officer Meekins out, and... So, you did your research beforehand. Those who go into the desert unprepared don't live long, partner. I don't think it would make a difference, though. The security tape is erased every 6 hours. If all had gone as planned, no footage would have been left. Why didn't he just erase the footage as soon as he left the room? You bloodied your coat in your struggle with Officer Meekins. If someone was in the security room when I came out, the jig would have been up. I opened my locker and stashed it in there. What was Officer Meekins doing during that time? He was out cold. The blood found in the scene clearly indicates a crime took place. What, are you blind? The victim shown on the tape is me, and I'm not dead yet, partner. You stole the evidence in the locker. Actually, no, I didn't. Why not? When I opened the locker, the evidence was already gone. Nani? Mr. Edgeworth, where is the evidence? It's still missing, Your Honor. Someone else stole the evidence. Officer Marshall, may I ask you one thing? Fire away, partner. It's a free country. Just remember, I'm also free to decide whether or not to answer. Not in the court of law. Why did you do this? Stealing a detective's ID, injuring a police officer? This is no small offense. Moreover, ooh, new music. Ooh, we've never heard this before. This will have serious consequences. It can't just be forgiven with a simple cut in salary. Not that salary cuts are ever a valid solution. Like I said, this isn't your case. This one's mine. And I'll do anything it takes to get an answer I'm satisfied with. The witness has an unusual amount of zeal. Let's hear more. You know why? I do know why. But that case was solved 2 years ago, wasn't it? That's the reason the evidence was stored in the evidence room. Joe Dart was convicted for his crimes. One thing I can say for sure is he deserved his sentence. Remember the Joe Dart case? It involves serial murders, didn't it? I don't intend to complain about how it turned out. Something that still bothers me. Something that went down in that trial. Something no one will talk about. What happened? I don't know. That's why I'm trying to find out. Feeling will wind up here sooner or later. Everyone involved here is related in some way to that case. Better take another look at the files. Shh, I got it, Raiju. Raiju, I got it, Raiju. Easy life. If I don't know, just let me flounder. Victims. Neil Marshall. Objection! Officer Marshall, I think I understand. I think I know why you care so much about SL9. Sounds like you've been sipping too much cactus juice, partner. I have the SL9 incident file right here. It's a whole stack of them. But it's only 4 pages long. In a list of murder victims. Neil Marshall, are you related to this man? Neil Marshall. Yeah, I'm sure you've heard the name. 2 years ago. What a good-looking man. He received the same lousy prosecutor award you got. Nani? A prosecutor? Judge, how do you not remember this shit? Judge, I know you're old and senile, but how do you not fucking remember? Now I remember Prosecutor Neil Marshall. He handled the SL9 case before I did. That's right, he was killed, and the case fell into your hands. But what's his relation to you? Oh my god, Judge. He was my bro. Way to spoil it for us. He was investigating the murders with Damon Grant. Gant. I keep only want to call him Grant. The group of detectives I was part of worked under them. So, right down here. Here we go. That's him. We're just desperate to prosecute the killer. Oh, hello. Is that Von Karma? My brother fought Dark and was killed. That was the first time Dark left behind any evidence. That was all we needed. He was arraigned and incarcerated. The case was finally closed. See, it looks like Von Karma! What do you mean? My brother couldn't have been killed by Joe Dark. I knew my brother better than anyone. No one could have beaten him in a fight. That's your reason for your insane actions? There's more to my brother's death than what the records say. No matter how much you try to hide it, you can't fool me. At least one thing's for certain. Now we know what happened at the police department on the day of the crime. Last day SL9 case could be reopened. Not satisfied with its resolution, Officer Marshall planned to steal the evidence. Disguising himself as Detective Goodman, he entered the evidence room. Officer Meekins confronted him, so he rendered him unconscious and fled. Yes, this mystery has finally been cleared up. No murder took place at the police department that day. Things that happen by chance never cease to amaze. At exactly the same time as the murder at the prosecutor's office, this fake murder was going on at the police department. Chance? It's got to be more than just that. If no one was murdered at the police department on the day of the crime, that means the murder in the prosecutor's office parking lot was the real one. Which in turn means only one person could have committed the crime. Chief Prosecutor Lana Sky. Objection! But wait, a verdict wasn't reached in yesterday's trial. Which is why we examined the incident at the police department today. But there's only one reason the defendant was not convicted yesterday, yet remained the mystery of the simultaneous murder at the police department. It seems to me, this boy's got the draw on you, partner. All the mysteries at the police department have been resolved. No doubt about it. Our sole murder took place at the prosecutor's office. The only suspect is Lana Sky. And a testimony of one Miss Angel Star is completely incontestable. Except for like the 5-minute miss there. Except for, 5 minutes of nothing. Seems this trial has reached its conclusion. There's no room for doubt. Well done, Mr. Wright. Thanks to you, I don't need to waste my time disproving the alleged murder at the police department. There's no doubt what I proved today is true. The apparent murder on the security tapes really was a fake, but I didn't realize. That would end up proving Lana guilty. I love the way this logic works. Like, well, if they didn't do it, you must have been the murderer. Like, that's how things work. If it wasn't person A, it must have been you. And therefore you're guilty. Remember, everyone is guilty until proven innocent in the court of law. Hold it. What the fuck are you doing there? Your Honor. Wait. Emma, the defense has an objection. A scientific objection. Right? What do you mean, right? Mr. Wright. That's my name. Are you this girl's guardian? Your Honor? In a sense, I would not say yes to that. Please hear me out. Mr. Edgeworth, please. I don't want to leave any loose ends. You want a minute? I'll give you 3. Wow! How nice of you, Edgeworth. You really like 15-year-old girls. It's kind of in a shock. Finding out the SL9 incident referred to the Joe Dart killings. Now she mentions it, the names of both Sky sisters were in that file. That's when I figured it out. What Officer Marshall was trying to do that day. So I knew his fingerprint had nothing to do with the crime. That left only one thing, the other handprint. The traces of blood found on Detective Gumshoe's locker. No fingerprints were found on it, right? I figured if I examined it scientifically, sure to find a clue. Ran over there and looked at it again. Sorry, I guess I'm not much of a scientific investigator after all. I'm only a 15-year-old girl, Jesus. Is that all? Please don't be mad, I'm just a high school student. I'm just an attorney. Mr. Wright, those traces of blood are the only clue we have. She's literally 15. Like, she said she's 15. Please, Mr. Wright, you're a professional. If anyone can save Lana, it's you. Maya is 17. She said the wiki says she's 17 in other games. Remember, there's multiple games, so it takes place during different times. With regards to the incident at the police department, does any reasonable doubt remain? It appears the defense is troubled by the other blood mark. Looking at the floor plans, the handprint was discovered around here. Is there a problem with this? Mr. Wright, I'm sorry I can't be of any more use, but still, you can't find anything wrong with that blood mark. Lana will be. Please answer my question, Mr. Wright. We don't have all day. If ever I've needed to concentrate, it's now. What could be wrong with the handprint in Detective Gumshoe's locker? Could there be something I'm missing? I object. She said her 16th birthday is later this year. So, she's 15. Clearly shows a contradiction. The only thing that seems wrong is you're grasping. What's the problem? This is strange. Take a good look at these floor plans. Something is missing. Missing? Something hasn't been drawn on there? Yes, something that, when drawn, will completely change the meaning of the blood mark. Let's pray your defense isn't trying to buy time. Very well. There's something you can use. What's missing? What about that piece of plywood? The Blue Badger mascot. Defender of truth, guardian of proof. Please look at the floor plans. The crime scene, the Blue Badger's not here. So watch what happens when you put him in. This is where he was dancing at the time of the crime. Well, what? Yeah! That's right. So long as the Blue Badger is dancing there, it would have been impossible to place a handprint at this spot in the locker. So that means, what does it mean? It can't be done. Yeah, it's no way someone could have possibly reached behind him. Don't look at me. Emma, on that afternoon, Officer Meekins was the one who brought the Blue Badger to the evidence room, right? After he put it down, it would be impossible to leave a handprint on that locker. So that must mean this blood mark was left there before the Blue Badger was brought in. I will not allow such far-fetched balderdash in my courtroom. It may sound far-fetched, Your Honor, but it's the only possible explanation. On February 21st, in the police department's evidence room, blood was spilled not once but twice. But how? I love this bit. One time I was captured on tape. Officer Meekins cut his hand, which a trivial amount of blood fell. Problem is, the other time. Dun dun dun. Dun dun dun. Someone bled prior to the struggle shown in this tape. It had not. It had to have been Detective Goodman, who was really murdered. It's ridiculous. Objection! I love how objections work in Phoenix Wright. Like, they're basically counter spells. I object to your objection. I object! However, does not explain the blood mark found in the locker. When it take place, advantage evidence proves when it occurred. When did the first incident occur? Some Wright's defense claims that prior to Officer Meekins being cut, another incident took place. That's right, the blood mark on the locker proves this. Very well. Tell us, when did this first incident take place? Proof. It's one piece of evidence, so we can show the proof of when. It's gotta be the ID card, right? Alright, ID card. If the crime took place inside an evidence room, then a killer would have had to enter it. And in order to do so, the ID card would have been required. An ID card? Oh! The ID card! Officer Meekins brought the Blue Badger panel into the evidence room. Let's see, 450. If the crime took place before that time, then it would be 440. Ah! 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 What have you done? I never would have figured you had the nerve, boy. Drop the yak, witness. Doesn't take a lot of thought to figure out it couldn't have been me. Nope, I ain't getting it. Because he only had 10 minutes. Clear from the luminol test, the blood was there. However, when the second crime took place, both Officer Meekins and Officer Marshall failed to notice the blood. That means the blood for the first crime was wiped away by the real murderer. I would have had just 10 minutes. Murder victim carried the body away and cleaned up the blood. That would mean the crime must have taken place before Edgeworth. I can't believe 777777 matters. But wait, that doesn't make sense. How could Detective Goodman have entered the evidence room? Since there's no record of this card being used beforehand, he must have entered along with the real murderer. That's the only plausible explanation. He went... Mr. Edgeworth, please look at this ASAP. Find whose number is... That's one 7 too many, Your Honor. Unfortunately, I'm unable to look up the owner of that ID card, at least at present. Nunny, explain yourself. The ID number belongs to someone with a rank of captain or higher. Someone who is so-called executive officer. I wonder who that could be. That's ridiculous. Just how? I'm not finished talking. There's one situation in which we can be granted such authority. The official charge filed against this executive is accepted. The official charge. You're all alike, aren't you? There are cover-ups in your forgeries. That's how the prosecutor's office operates. The treasure map is Shanks and Ben Beckman. Wow, okay. I guess Ben Beckman's gun is super short-shortened, but nice. I mean, foreshortened, but nice. Shanks Ben Beckman. That was a good guess. I would appreciate if you would keep your slander to yourself. Slander, is it? Okay. Let me ask you a question. Yes? Not to you, to her, the defense sitting over there. Your own little executive. Lana. Don't be stupid. She's been charged with murder. Of course, we looked up her ID number is not sense. Don't play me for a fool, partner. That's not what I want to ask. SL9. Answer me this, Chief Prosecutor. Did you really only use legitimate evidence? Did you? Do you need the witness to repeat his question, Chief Prosecutor? I heard him fine, Mr. Edgeworth. 2 years ago, I was in charge of the prosecution for that trial. At the time, occasionally we felt the powerlessness of the law. At least I did. Lana, I became a prosecutor in order to suppress crime with the law. But before I realized it, we were the ones being suppressed by the law. I'll ask you again, Chief Prosecutor. During the trial 2 years ago, did you really present all the evidence in court? Can you look me into an investigator in the crime in the eye and say that you did? I don't have to, Officer Marshall. Why don't you answer him? Drastic crimes require drastic measures. That's just the way it is. We did what we had to in order to get him, the victim, what he deserved. But Lana, even if it involved forging evidence. Dun dun dun. See? That's what I'm talking about. No. No! Order! Order! Lana's remarks. Guys, I think we finished an entire day in court without making a single fucking mistake.